You open your phone just to check the time for an appointment, but before your eyes can even find the calendar icon, your finger has already tapped a social network. One short video, then the next page, then a stream of images pulls you along. When you look up, half the morning has slipped away as if it never belonged to you. You slow down. You blame yourself. You feel out of control. The problem is not that you are weak. The problem is that your surroundings are designed to defeat your willpower. Bright icons parked right under your thumb. Notifications that pop in at the exact moment you feel tired. The pull down to refresh window that always promises the next interesting thing. Day after day, those tiny details add up to a heavy pull. Day after day, you trade what is important for what only feels urgent. Day after day, you let a device choose your focus for you. The consequences are quiet but deep. Small habits repeated over and over drag your attention down, and slowly you start to identify yourself with delay. I am someone who always puts things off. Confidence drops, results drop. Your brain chases quick rewards. Your work piles up. Your future shrinks its options. If nothing changes, tomorrow will look just like today, except you will find it harder to forgive yourself. The more you scold yourself, the stronger the temptation grows. The harder you try to power through, the more your environment wins. That is a loop that quietly wears down your best energy. You are responsible for redesigning your own environment. Do you want to rely on willpower every time temptation shows up? Would you walk into a messy room and then blame yourself for lacking discipline? Will you let a device write the history of today for you? Or will you adjust the setting with your own hands so the right behavior becomes the default choice? Do not wait for willpower to arrive. Clear the traps first. Do not try to fix the person in your dreams. Fix the room that is real. The solution is not loud slogans. The solution is to reverse friction. Make the bad habits inconvenient and make the good habits easy to reach. Pull what you need closer and push what pulls you away farther away. Lock in clear starting cues so you do not have to play mind games every time you begin. You will feel a simple but powerful shift. Fewer traps, stronger anchors, steady repeats. I will not promise a miracle. I will promise a system that is easy to apply and speaks directly to a busy life. A few small adjustments in placement, cues, and sequence can give you back the control you lost. When friction changes direction, behavior changes outcomes. Discipline begins with objects, not with promises. You must master your space in order to master your day, and you can do that in a practical way, without straining, without showing off. In the next part, we will go into the root mechanics, why the environment can defeat willpower so quickly, and how a small change in context can shift the entire arc of your choices. Chapter 1. The Hand Pull Mechanism. Why environment beats willpower. You think you are choosing, but in reality, the environment has chosen for you before you have time to think. Every icon, every color, every chime is a small latch that pulls your choices in another direction. You see before you reason. You touch before you even ask yourself. You swipe before you remember your goal. The environment shapes choices faster than logic because it speaks directly to your habits and simple signals. When something sits right under your hand, right in your line of sight, at the exact moment you are tired, it wins in a beat that is shorter than any pep talk. Day after day, your eyes move ahead of your thoughts. You must recognize that location determines speed. You win by understanding how the traps work. Have you ever unlocked your phone with a clear purpose and then tapped the first thing that lit up? Do you notice how a notification sends your mind straight back to the old app the moment you just left it? Do you see how the apps in the first row are the ones you use the most, even when they are not your real priorities? It is not weak character. It is proximity triggers. It is not lack of motivation. It is an excess of signals, color, placement, alert tone. Close to your hand, close to your eyes, close to your habits. You think you decide, but the signal is already guiding your hand. Every day, the environment sends you a string of tiny prompts that your brain memorizes like a familiar road. A red badge makes you think something is important, even when it is just a new alert repeating the same old content. An item sitting right on the edge of your thumb turns behavior into breathing, effortless, and thoughtless. You stand in a room lined with small traps, and each trap needs only a single glance. You do not lose because you are incompetent. You lose because you were called by name at a weak moment. Every day, your eyes move ahead of your thoughts. You must accept that position is a stronger lever than slogans. You win by reading the language of signals before the signals call your name. Do you find yourself tapping with no intention? Have you ever left the task you were doing just because the device buzzed softly? Do you treat a bright tile on the screen as an invitation that is hard to resist whenever you are tired? It is not lack of resolve. It is the shortcuts laid out to pull you off the long road. It is not lack of intelligence. It is the design around you that strikes your fast reflexes and does not wait for reasons. You cannot win a race with words when your opponent uses a downhill slope. You must see where that slope is, how steep it tilts, and why it makes your feet slide on their own. When you stand on a downward slope, willpower must haul the entire weight of your day. Color, placement, alert tone, order, distance, line of sight, windows, bright edges, thumb's rim. These details are not neutral. They push. They push very softly, but enough times to change direction. Every day you are inside a silent dialogue between signals and reflexes. A single ting is a friendly invitation. A block of color is a sales pitch. A position next to your thumb is a slip mat. You respond before you have time to think about the consequences. Have you ever asked yourself why you feel more drained after switching tasks every few minutes? Do you feel your head get heavier when alerts keep calling you back to the same place? Are you willing to look straight at the source of activation instead of blaming vague lack of willpower? It is not that you are weak. It is that the hit comes at the exact moment you dip. It is not that you are bad. It is that the setting lays out the path of least friction for the wrong choice. 3 lines drop straight into snap decisions. Close to your hand, close to your eyes, close to your habits. 3 tethers pull on one blind spot. Color, placement, alert tone. You are pulled by convenience, not by persuasion. Every day your eyes move ahead of your thoughts. You must review the very first thing you see when you start anything. You win by slowing one beat of your gaze so your reason has a chance to step in. Do you notice yourself tapping only on the headline as if by reflex? Do you feel your thumb slide down to refresh for a vague hope? Do you agree that just half a second of convenience can redirect an entire morning? It is not lack of motivation. It is an overload of signals that makes your brain chase quick rewards. It is not lack of goals. It is the near voice that drowns out the far reminder in your mind. Will you keep blaming personality, or will you start reading the circuitry of the triggers around you? Will you call it weak will, or will you see it as the result of a tilted playing field? You are responsible for how you step into the environment, even when the environment is very good at pulling you away. Color, placement, alert tone, windows, scroll bars, lit buttons, shortcuts, habits, rewards. This sequence of 3 lines combines into one lure. The lure turns you into a reactor instead of a chooser. Every day your eyes move ahead of your thoughts. You must admit that reflexes are not bad. Reflexes are simply loyal to signals. You win by asking the right question at the exact moment a signal brushes against you. Do you find yourself tapping with no intention? Do you notice how a chime makes you turn your head? Do you see that the apps in the top row are the ones you use the most? Are you ready to look straight at the source of activation? Do not blame yourself. Name the mechanism that is running around you. Do not scold your willpower. Trace the path that your eyes, ears, and hands take in a single short beat. When you understand the mechanism, you stop useless self-criticism and move your energy to a place you can control. When you understand the mechanism, you know why one small detail can change a whole morning and a whole day. When you understand the mechanism, you begin to see that you have a real choice, even while the signals keep ringing. Every day, your eyes move ahead of your thoughts. You must remember that everything in your field of view is saying something to your habits. You win by choosing what gets to speak first. Will you keep letting small tethers yank you from what you are doing? Will you keep mistaking a chime for a true priority? Will you keep believing that a bigger burst of determination alone will fix it? Once you understand the mechanism, you end the foggy fight with yourself and start observing like a clear-headed driver. You see how the current of the environment flows in the moments when you are tired, bored, distracted, or alone. You stop calling yourself someone with weak will. You call the thing that pulls you what it is: near signals and easy reach. From the mechanism, you can see the accumulated cost if you let the tilted slope stretch from this month into the next. And right at that point, your responsibility becomes clear, heavy, and bright. Chapter 2. The Quiet Price. Losses. When friction points the wrong way, you plan to open an important document to finish a piece of work, but your finger slips into the endless scroll, and your memory of the original goal fades like a shadow. When friction for bad habits is too low, behavior slides almost automatically, and you only notice once your energy has been drained by those tiny, nameless gestures. You scroll a little more, you switch tabs a little more, you call it a quick break. Low friction for bad habits quietly siphons energy, time, and self-respect because it turns the wrong choice into the path of least resistance in your day. The leakage happens in units so small they never cause panic in one go, yet they erode you when they add up across hundreds of unguarded moments. Focus thins out. Progress slows down. Confidence fades. If you keep gliding along the easy path, you compound interest on delay, and by the end of the day you are left with a floating feeling you cannot quite name, but you know you have lost something of yourself. If you keep yielding to near temptations, you will watch your work clump up, your decisions lose sharpness, and your relationships tighten with strain because you are no longer fully present. Tasks pile up. Decisions drop in quality. Trust gets chipped. Every day you wear down your focus with taps that seem harmless because the brain prioritizes fast rewards the moment the setting invites them. You must see clearly the invisible price being deducted on a steady schedule because that price does not appear on a bill. It shows up as self-doubt every time you try to begin. You win by naming the loss so you no longer confuse a slow ache with a lack of ability. Energy is withdrawn. Time is fragmented. Self-respect is ground down. Do you remember what you opened the app to do? Or do you only remember the path of the scroll like an old reflex? Do you catch yourself dodging the important work by rearranging easy little tasks instead? Do you feel confident grading yourself at day's end when most hours drifted in the gray zone? When friction points the wrong way, avoidance wears the mask of relaxation, and you press pause on your mind only to return to a bigger, heavier block of work later. You do not fall into one deep hole. You bleed out willpower drop by drop until eventually you imagine you are inherently weak, when the truth is you have been paying for every tiny slip. Not one big loss, but constant leakage. Not crushed by weight, but worn down by lightness. Not a loud collapse, but a quiet deflation. Focus down, progress slow, confidence pale. Tasks stacked, decisions worse, relationships tense. These 3 layers of damage do not travel alone. They link into a chain, and you only notice when a simple question suddenly feels harder than it should, because your mind has been sliced into too many pieces. You are more tired, you are quicker to snap, you are less patient. Every day you trade a clear piece of the future for a fuzzy piece of the present simply because the route is convenient. You must see that route is paved with familiar signals and the short relief after each tiny move away from the work. You win by correctly identifying what is stealing your presence, so you stop blaming some vague trait of personality. It is near temptation. It is old habit. It is misdirected friction. Will you admit that 5 minutes of ease just added weight to the rest of your morning? Will you dare to call a bad decision instead of comforting yourself that you need one more quick scroll? How long will you keep paying before you look straight at the total price that is rising each day? It is not only lost time, it is lost self-respect when inner promises get bent by small, constant swerves. It is not only lost results, it is lost ownership when your hand moves before your mind at the very moments that require focus. You do not need to do more. You need to stop the invisible losses that are happening bit by bit every hour, because that is the largest expense in a day that otherwise looks normal. You must call it real waste. You must understand it is real leakage. You must recognize it has been going on for a long time. Focus down, progress slow, confidence pale. These three drive one another like three blades of a fan, and when they spin fast enough, they throw a headwind that makes normal work feel harder, longer, and heavier. Tasks stacked, decisions worse, relationships tense. These three demand a higher emotional interest payment, and you pay it with pointless irritability toward family or coworkers because you are already exhausted by nameless scrolling. The price is not displayed. The price still exists. The price is paid by you. Every day you walk out of your day with a feeling of half done because too many windows are open and each window is half done itself. You must understand that the brain hates unfinished work, and that very feeling of unfinished pulls you back into the loop to chase a fake finish, while the real task sits quietly waiting for you. You win by separating short-term comfort from real progress, so you stop using the former as proof of the latter. It is not progress. It is not rest. It is not freedom. Do you notice that the more you scroll, the more tired you feel, even though the original reason was to relax? Do you remember how many small moments with loved ones you have missed because your eyes stayed on the screen? Do you see that your mornings feel brighter than your evenings, mostly because of quiet leaks, not because the work was too hard? Do not blame personality. Look at the mechanism that is operating quietly on your desk and in your pocket. Do not conclude that you lack capability. Admit you are living in a current of easy reach that makes the wrong choice cheaper than the right one. Do not chant slogans. Read the invisible invoice out loud so you can relocate the center of your life in each moment. You name the true cost. You see the real loss. You stop the real denial. Focus down, progress slow, confidence pale. That is your layer of awareness, behavior, and identity all being eroded at once. Not by a storm, but by steady rain on soft ground for many days. Tasks stacked, decisions worse, relationships tense. That is your layer of work, judgment, and connection all under strain at once. Not because someone attacked you, but because you were no longer present enough to give fully. The consequences are not loud. The consequences are persistent. The consequences must be faced. Every day you sign a small contract with delay with one downward swipe, and the other party collects full interest after you turn off the screen, leaving you with a wordless sense of being behind. You must see that contract is a bad deal because it trades deep freedom for shallow freedom, and it trades ownership for reactivity. You win by ending the fog in how you rate your day and by separating emotional losses from real rest. You once confused them. You once forgave them unconditionally. You once called them by the wrong name. Are you willing to admit that doing nothing is not rest if your mind is still being dragged by signals? Are you willing to accept that quick fun and long fatigue is a loss, not a gain? Are you willing to stop self-soothing and start an honest conversation with yourself about the price you're paying? The consequences are not loud, but they are persistent, and they collect in places you think no one sees. In the way you hesitate before a small task, in the way you avoid a necessary call, in the way you refuse to look long at a worthy goal. Seeing them is the required step to reverse direction, because you cannot adjust anything you still minimize, dodge, or redirect. When you call the loss by its right name, you bring light to the leaks, and light always makes hiding habits short of breath. You begin to reclaim presence. You begin to reclaim respect. You begin to reclaim agency. Once you see the price you are paying, it is time to take back agency, and the next chapter will place you at the center of redesigning the context so the path no longer tilts the wrong way as it used to. Chapter 3. The Agency. Axis. You are the architect of habit. You step up to a tidy desk, light falling right onto an open notebook, with a pen resting across the edge. No tangled charging cords and no flickering icons, only a wide enough space for your mind to stand upright and see what needs to be done. A quiet surface, a quiet mind. Fewer things, less noise. Clear place, clear self. You have the right and the duty to rearrange your living context so the right behavior becomes the default choice in every weak moment. When the space serves the goal, your reason is given the lead over your reflexes, and your new identity has somewhere to take root each day. Each day, you set the rules for your space. You must choose what is near you to serve the goal. You win by designing before you begin. If you do not take the agency axis, the space will crowd you with cheap, sweet invitations, and your day will fall back into old habits. If you do not reformat the context, your willpower will be forced to fight nonstop, and every small victory will cost more than it should. You burn out early. You yield more easily. You doubt yourself. Each day, you set the rules for your space so the first invitation belongs to what is worthy, not to what is within easy reach. You must choose what is near you to serve the goal, so your eyes see the right thing before your hand reaches for the easy thing. You win by designing before you begin, so you do not have to negotiate minute by minute with old temptations. The choice is yours. The context is yours. The opening beat is yours. Do you want the room to support you or to block you? Do you want the phone to be a tool or a boss? Do you want the future to be ruled by a momentary will or by a system? Are you ready to take responsibility for every object? In everyday life, responsibility does not arrive through big slogans. It arrives through small choices about what appears first and what is pushed to the back. You do not need loud cheering to be clear-headed. You need a sharp agency axis about who makes the rules in the room where you live each day. You are the owner of the space. You are the one who permits. You are the one who refuses. Do not wait for inspiration. Clear the path in advance so that, if inspiration shows up, it is only a bonus and not a requirement. Do not hope for spontaneous excellence. Create excellent defaults so the right behavior falls into an easy orbit guided by the context. Do not bet on luck. Build on the order you control the moment you step into the day. You change the terrain. You raise the baseline. You pull the center of gravity toward you. Choose less, place right, repeat steadily. Hide traps, pull anchors, lock exits. These three clusters are the language of agency because agency always speaks in order rather than scattered promises. Fewer things calm the eyes. Right placement steadies the hands. Consistency steadies the mind. Some days you will be tired. Sometimes you will be discouraged. Sometimes no one will clap. Yet the foundation will stand if the rules you set are sound and clear, because the foundation does not need praise to do its quiet work of support and guidance. Each day you win by protecting the right to open with what matters, the right to appear for what is right, and the right to withdraw what is noise. You win by putting yourself in the position of approver, not petitioner, inside the room named an ordinary day. You win by treating order as a commitment of identity, not a passing preference. Order is power. Power is responsibility. Responsibility is freedom. Do you want the room to support you or to block you? Do you want the phone to be a tool or a boss? Do you want the future to be ruled by a momentary will or by a system? Look again at the opening scene. A clear desk, a notebook, a pen, and a space wide enough for one clear thought to appear. Not a picture-perfect setup for photographs, but a launch pad so you do not pay a friction tax every time you begin, because the agency axis is already in your hand from the first second. You call it the new normal. You call it house rules. You call it identity. Do not wait for inspiration. Clear the path first so feelings no longer have the right to decide the route of your behavior. Do not hope for spontaneous excellence. Create excellent defaults so your willpower is not forced to rescue decisions that lack a foundation. When you stand as the architect, you are not hunting for miracles. You build a broad, level floor so each step is lighter and sure. You neutralize collisions. You reduce the wrong friction. You increase the right friction. Choose less, place right, repeat steadily. These three make sure your day does not leak out the edges through small cracks of clutter, and they gather scattered attention to a point that has value. Hide traps, pull anchors, lock exits. These three keep intention from going missing halfway because you have closed some escape routes for delay and given intention a hook to hold. Less, right, steady. Hide, pull, lock. Rules, foundation, momentum. There will be days you slip back into old habits when your mood is off, or when you wake with a heavy fog you cannot name. There will be times you want to quit, because the silence of the foundation does not feel like a quick win the way a burst of spontaneity does. There will be moments of boredom, because agency is ordinary, not dramatic, and not fireworks. Yet that very ordinary ground grows you slowly, and that safe, steady slowness is the soil where durable discipline stands through bad days. Each day you win by taking the side of the order you created, the side of the decision you signed, and the side of the identity you are confirming. Each day you win by remembering that space is a reminder, an invitation, and a promise at the same time. And you are the one who writes those three kinds of sentences on the walls. Each day, you win by moving what matters to the front of your line of sight and moving the old lures to the back, out of reach. You let the eyes lead the hands. You let the rules lead the intent. You let the system lead the feelings. Do you want the room to support you or to block you? Do you want the phone to be a tool or a boss? Do you want the future to be ruled by a momentary will or by a system? Are you ready to take responsibility for every object? When you reassert ownership of your space, you are rewriting your story in small but durable lines. I am the one who sets the rules for my day, and I am the one who keeps order so the right choice is cheaper than the wrong one. A new identity grows from small, repeated choices, not from a grand oath on a rare day. And agency is the foundation of durable discipline because it turns the right thing into the normal thing rather than the heroic effort. You keep the terrain steady. You keep the path bright. You keep yourself at the center. Next comes the overview of the friction design method, where three pillars are named clearly so you can see why reversing friction can alter the arc of an entire day. Chapter 4, the overview frame. Right friction, right anchors, right repeats. You do not need a loud revolution. You need a clear frame so small decisions can flow in the right direction on their own. These three simple pillars are deep enough to shift behavior and compact enough to remember when you are tired. Clear frame, clear role, clear path. Picture a hand sketch with three arrows. Reduce traps, increase anchors, lock the loop. That is the practical language of everyday discipline. When you know which pillar you are working on, you will not get lost in tangled advice and mood swings with no foundation. Three arrows, one direction, one person responsible. If you lack a frame, you will wrestle with feelings hour by hour and call it a fickle personality. If you lack a frame, your day will be pulled by whatever is close at hand and by short calls that you mistake for choices. You wear down, you scatter, you second guess. Each day, reduce friction for the right action so the road toward it is smooth enough that your hand cannot easily make excuses to dodge it. You must increase friction for the wrong action so that each time you start to turn down the old path, you feel timely inconvenience and stop in a single beat. You win by locking the loop so today connects to tomorrow instead of beginning from zero again. Reduce traps clearly, anchor right clearly, repeat right clearly. Where is your right action being blocked? Where is your wrong action far too convenient? At which step does your daily loop break? Are you willing to test this frame on one habit? Within this frame, you work with context, not with bargaining against willpower, and that is why it holds even when your mood shifts color. You speak to the eyes, the ears, the hands, and to the order around you, instead of speaking to an abstract slogan in your head. Eyes need less noise. Ears need fewer calls. Hands need fewer traps. Do not cut blindly. Adjust difficulty so the wrong choice becomes less cheap and the right choice becomes less expensive. Do not add spontaneity. Add deliberate anchors so the right behavior knows where to lean when you are weak. Do not squeeze yourself. Adjust the base so the right behavior glides on a new, gentler inertia. You change the baseline. You change the wind. You change the room rules. Cut traps, add anchors, lock the loop. Scan the context, shift positions, test small. These three falling phrases are not pretty mantras. They are three operations you use to tell the environment who is in charge. Fewer wrong gates, more right gates. One flow. Sometimes you will be tired. Some days you will be bored. Sometimes no one will clap. But the frame does not demand hype. The frame demands honesty about how objects and signals move on the table. Each day, you win by repeating the three pillars when you open the day, as a map, not as a brief oath. You win by choosing one point in the frame to handle, rather than scratching at the entire wall and giving up from fatigue. You win by letting the frame hold the rhythm when you are weak and adding willpower when you are strong, not the other way around. The frame carries you. You carry the rest. The day drifts less. Where is your right action being blocked? Where is your wrong action far too convenient? At which step does your daily loop break? See reduced traps as a way to work with misdirected friction, increase anchors as a way to work with starting cues, and lock the loop as a way to work with the repeat that builds identity. When these three speak the same language, you no longer need to summon willpower to put out fires every time your heart dips in the middle of the day. You are less tense. You jerk less. You blame yourself less. Do not fix feelings first. Fix the desktop first so feelings follow once the context is safe. Do not blame personality. Audit the order in which signals appear in your line of sight. Do not wait for a surge of hype. Choose one precise turn of the dial so the trajectory truly shifts. You are practical. You are specific. You are calm. Cut traps, add anchors, lock the loop. That is the vertical axis of the frame, helping you know where you are acting within the habit system. Scan the context, shift positions, test small. That is the horizontal axis of the frame, keeping you from overload when you want to do everything at once. Axis clear, steps clear, outcomes clear. Are you letting the right action stand behind a curtain of noise because too many unnecessary things sit in front of your eyes? Are you letting the wrong action sit at the doorway like a welcome mat that is far too friendly? Are you starting your day with a tangle of signals that forces your brain to guess the priority? Every day, reduce friction for the right action by asking, what is the true first step? And move it to the most visible spot. You must increase friction for the wrong action by asking honestly, what am I rolling out a red carpet for? And then pull the carpet back behind the door. You win by locking the loop when you choose. I confirm that I am the kind of person who does this in the same steady sequence. Context speaks, behavior answers, identity records. Do not be rigid. Be flexible within the frame so the frame serves you and does not turn into a cage. Do not chase perfection. Be clear enough that the hands know what to do before the head has time to hesitate. Do not chase trends. Hold to three pillars that change little across tools and fads. You avoid drifting. You avoid overload. You avoid snap breaks. Cut traps, add anchors, lock the loop. These 3 cuts are not 3 extra tasks. They are 3 clearance orders that make everything else cheaper. Scan the context, shift positions, test small. These 3 shifts are not too many. They are just enough tilt for the water to run where it needs to run. Tilt enough. Flow right. Steady results. Where is your right action being blocked? Where is your wrong action far too convenient? At which step does your daily loop break? Are you willing to test this frame on one habit? On many days, you will feel more impulsive when tired. And that is exactly when the frame shows its value, because it does not ask for your feelings' permission. The frame works with objects, distances, and sequences, the very things that do not change just because you argued, or got busy, or slept too little. The objects remain, the locations remain, the order remains. You win by reminding yourself of the frame's 3 directives. Reduce traps for the right action, increase anchors for the right action, and lock the loop so the right action becomes the default. You win by tying these directives to real details in space, not to invisible promises in your head. You win by letting the frame speak first, you speak second, and the feelings listen last. The frame is sensible, you speak with force, the feelings settle. Do you want your day to be decided by whatever blinks the biggest? Do you want your future to stand on a floor you laid, or on a floor scattered by old habits? Do you want to be the one who opens the door for the right thing each morning, or will you keep it waiting in the hallway? When the frame is clear, the moves are clear, and when the moves are clear, you no longer need to invent extra motivation to start, because the road now has fewer potholes and fewer useless turns. From here, you can move into the concrete methods under each pillar, not to argue, but to make friction stand on your side with patience and intelligence. You hold agency. You hold a steady rhythm. You hold the day on course. Begin with method 1. Increase friction for bad habits so that every wrong choice must pay a higher price than you do. Chapter 5, The Trap Blocker. Increase friction for bad habits. Method 1. You do not need to ban yourself forever. You need to make the road to a bad habit so cumbersome that you hesitate to take a step. When your hand must go through a few extra motions, your mind has time to slip in one clear question before the old reflex runs. You move away from temptation. You slow down one beat. You choose again and choose right. You unlock your phone and notice social media has been pushed to the 3rd screen. The icon is dimmed and notifications are completely turned off in settings. At the moment you want to scroll, you pause because you must swipe, you must search, you must enter one more step, and that very step is long enough for reason to speak up. Each day you move the traps away from your hand. You must make it slow and cumbersome. You win by making the bad action feel tired. If you do not increase friction, the bad habit will always win because it is cheaper, closer, and faster than the right behavior in every situation. If you do not add a speed bump, the old reflex will flow like water to the lowest spot, and you will blame your weak will even though the rules are stacked against you. You lose focus. You lose time. You lose self-respect. Each day, you move the traps away from your hand by pushing the icons to the back, placing them inside a neutrally named folder, and hiding them from the first screen. You must make it slow and cumbersome by turning off all push notifications, removing bubble previews, and stripping away the chime that calls you back. You win by making the bad action tired like a bumpy road, so every time you want to turn, you ask yourself, is it worth it? Before you take a step. Silence the chime, then dim the lights. Add a step, then add a thought. Far from the hand, far from the habit, will you dare add one step so you can ask, is it worth it? Do you really need notifications lit up all day? Will you keep those apps in the top row? Will you try moving the traps today? In everyday life, increasing friction means turning one tap into many taps, turning auto-open into must-enter, and turning go straight in into stop here. You swap a fast default for a slow default with concrete moves. Hide the icon, revoke auto run, sign out after each use, and require signing back in with a long chain of passwords. You do not need to be a superhero. You only need to place a few small stones on the slope so the slide weakens before it sweeps you along. Less easy reach, less impulse, less slipping. Do not ban absolutely. Make it just hard enough that instinct must pay a fee before it can act. Do not scold yourself. Level the field so the right behavior is cheaper than the wrong behavior in the same context. Do not suppress feelings. Place obstacles in the path of reflex so feelings do not get to puppet your hand. You change the rules of the game. You change the friction balance. You change the default habit. Relocate, silence, add steps. Hide icons, block hours, lengthen passwords. These 3 falling phrases are 3 doors that slow reflex and give you a chance for a reason to arrive on time. A little harder, a little longer, a little clearer. Some days you will be tired. Sometimes you will be bored. Sometimes no one will clap. But the small obstacles will still be there, doing their quiet work of guarding you from old turns when your mind is weak. You win by adding friction at 3 points: the point of seeing, the point of touching, and the point of entry. You win by turning always open into must search, turning runs in the background into runs only with permission, and turning enter now into pause here. You win by letting the context handle the hardest job of blocking reflex, and then you step in to choose what is right. Block the eyes by moving it to the next screen. Block the hands by adding a step. Block the entry by requiring sign-in. Will you face your phone and list the apps that are stealing your presence? Will you turn off every push notification except for a few that truly matter? Will you set a password so long that even you feel reluctant when you're in a weak moment? Do not turn yourself into an ascetic. Turn the bad habit into an inconvenient errand that forces thought. Do not fix the person in the mirror. Fix the path under your feet so every wrong step catches. Do not hope to be very strong. Aim for just hard enough so reflex has time to think. You build small eddies that resist. You bend the slick momentum. You take back one clean breath. Relocate, silence, add steps. That is the axis that works on hands, ears, and eyes, helping you cut the trigger chain before it ties you to the loop. Hide icons, block hours, lengthen passwords. That is the axis that works on doors, locks, and timing, forcing reflex to pass through multiple gates to reach the quick reward. More gates, fewer exits, more chances to stop. Each day you move the traps away from your hand by pulling them out of direct sight and stashing them where you must be deliberate to get there. You must make it slow and cumbersome by adding a confirmation step, a neutral question, or a blank screen that invites self-check. You win by making the bad actions so tiring that you feel lazy, and that laziness saves you at the right moment. Too lazy to re-enter saves you. Too lazy to search saves you. Too lazy to wait saves you. Have you noticed that adding just one step can make you forget the old impulse? Do you see that when the icon no longer shines in front of you, the urge drops a notch? Do you see that a long password is a quiet message that says, "This is not what you need right now"? Do not rely on slogans. Rely on the layout of objects and the rules of on and off to change behavior. Do not spend hours in self-blame. Place a stop pin at the start so there is nothing to blame. Do not strain every morning. Quietly change a few locations and permissions so your evening is less drained. Be cold toward the trap. Be fair to yourself. Be kind to your future. Relocate, silence, add steps. These 3 move you from reactor to actor in each familiar tap. Hide icons, block hours, lengthen passwords. These 3 turn a fast reflex into a responsible decision because there is no shortcut left for the bad habit. The shortcut is closed. The right road is less steep. The way ahead is brighter. Some days you will not do it well. Sometimes you will still take the old turn. Sometimes you will be annoyed by entering too much. But that small annoyance is the insurance premium you pay to protect the clear hours you need for the work that matters. You win by admitting that reflex is not bad. It is simply loyal to the cheapest route, and your job is to make sure the cheapest route no longer leads to a bad habit. You win by charging every poor behavior an entry fee, and that fee is time, motion, and intention. You win by remembering that context is the gatekeeper, and you are the one who sets the rules for the gate. Rules are clear. Gates are strict. The guard is alert. Do you still want to place a trap at the doorway so you trip every time you pass? Do you still want to allow the chime to pull you away in the middle of important work? Do you want to keep calling it relaxation when it is actually loss? When the trap sits farther away, you get one breath to choose again, and that breath is enough to change the decision because you have remembered where you are going. Increasing friction is not a war. It is a reasonable slowing technique that gives awareness the right to speak at the right time, and it puts you back in the driver's seat. You stand above reflex. You stand steady in the call. You stand on the side of what is right. Next is method 2. Reduce friction for good habits so the path to the right behavior becomes light, near, and easy to start, like a natural breath. Chapter 6. The Good Slide. Reduce friction for good habits. Method 2. Imagine opening your eyes and seeing your notebook and pen already on the desk, your running shoes waiting by the door like a calm invitation. When the right thing is within reach, the brain does not need long negotiations, and the body can begin before laziness has a chance to speak. Close to your eyes, close to your hands, close to your intent. Your goal is to make the right action fast, near, and easy to start in the weakest moments of the day. When the opening is as simple as a breath, you prevent most of the tangle, because the hardest part of any habit lives in the first 5 seconds. Each day, you keep the right thing within reach. You must prepare one starting move in advance. You win by beginning in the first few seconds. If you do not reduce friction for what is right, you will have to depend on inspiration to get going, and inspiration is as fickle as the weather of the mind. If you do not stage the tools, you will pay petty taxes before every start, and those taxes are enough for the old reflex to win. You hesitate, you delay, you abandon. Each day, you keep the right thing within reach by giving it a visible, honored place. You must prepare one starting move in advance, a step so simple it requires no thinking and lets the start happen naturally. You win by beginning in the first few seconds, so hesitation does not get to occupy your body any longer than it deserves. Clear place, clear step, clear launch. Are your tools sitting exactly where they are needed? Is your first step already clear? Have you paired a light reward with the hard task? Are you ready to make begin as easy as breathing? In everyday life, reducing friction means turning the right action into the path of least resistance by putting tools in the right spots and trimming the opening ritual. You leave the notebook and pen open at the corner of the desk. Put the water bottle by the chair and face the shoes toward the door like a quiet command. Set in place. Streamline. Pair up. Do not wait for inspiration. Lay out the tools as if the right action were a guest of honor who needs a wide, private entrance. Do not keep things far away. Pull them close so your hands do not have to search, because searching is a kind of friction that makes you drift. Do not leave it to chance. Arrange the scene so the right behavior holds priority while your body is still sleepy. Less negotiating, less wavering. A smoother slide, set in place, streamline, pair up, cut noise, clarify steps, clarify placement. These 2 falling tricolons are enough to pour a new floor for your day, where the right thing is paved by order, not by slogans. Flat floor, light momentum, immediate step. Sometimes you will be tired. Some days you will not feel like it. Sometimes the room will be too quiet. But when the tools are in the right place, all you need is to lift your hand, and the feelings will follow, because startup friction has been removed. You win by shrinking the start into one small gesture, maybe opening the notebook, picking up the pen, or standing tall and sliding into your shoes. You win by pairing the right habit with a light reward, maybe soft music, or a cool sip of water as you begin. You win by reducing the first choice to only start or not start with what. Fewer choices, less thinking, less quitting. Are you making the right action pass through 3 doors before it can begin? Are you asking yourself to find tools buried in a pile of clutter? Are you letting laziness win because you had to turn around to fetch the one missing item? Lay out the notebook and pen before you leave the desk, so next time your hand lands on a page that has been waiting. Leave the shoes at the door, laces loosened, so next time the body only has to slide in and step outside even if the mood has not agreed yet. Keep the water bottle filled, so next time you have a gentle cue that says, "We have started," and hesitation drops a notch. The body moves first, the feelings follow, the reason catches up. Do not argue with laziness. Make the right path shorter than the wrong one, so laziness stands on your side. Do not aim for a perfect opening. Aim for an easy opening so you show up where you need to be, when you need to be there. Do not evaluate your state. Evaluate the layout, because layout is what decides the initial momentum of behavior. You choose the base. You choose the direction. You choose the rhythm. Set in place, streamline, pair up. That is how you tell the eyes, hands, and ears that the right thing is the priority, not the exception. Cut noise, clarify steps, clarify placement. That is how you keep the brain from solving a puzzle before doing the work, because the puzzle is friction disguised as thinking. Fewer puzzles, more signals. One clear lane. Are you leaving your phone on top of the notebook so your eyes get pulled elsewhere? Have you defined the first step? Or do you say, "Start working," and then get lost in tidying? Do you have a light reward that makes your body want to return next time? Each day, you keep the right thing within reach by placing it at the center of your view, uncovered by unrelated objects. You must prepare one starting move in advance by writing a single prompt line, or by setting a physical agreement like an open notebook or shoes faced toward the door. You win by beginning in the first few seconds and treating those 5 seconds as a runway, because every takeoff needs a runway, not fireworks. Runway smooth, flaps open, heavy plane lifts. Say less, place right. Think less, act first. Ask less, touch first. Then you notice you have already moved a few beats, and the feeling of "I am in the groove" arrives late like a gift. Momentum comes after. Confidence comes after. Results come after. Set in place, streamline, pair up. Cut noise, clarify steps, clarify placement. These 2 tricolons become your daily startup recipe, so you do not refresh motivation. You simply flip the switch. Switch clear, light on, room in motion. You may be tired on a rainy morning when the blanket calls and you want to declare today an exception. You may be bored on a long afternoon when the screen is too tempting and the chair too soft. You may feel alone in a quiet room with no reminders and no one checking in. But when the tools are set, the first move is defined, and the light reward is waiting. You still step over the edge of laziness by the inertia of the context. You win by making the opening smaller than the effort of a deep breath, by letting the hand meet the right object in the right place, and by letting the eyes read the right cue at the right time. You win by turning warm-up into a body-friendly ritual that demands no debate, only presence. You win by treating staging as a promise to your future, where you meet yourself in the easiest state to act. You meet yourself. You meet the work. You meet momentum. Do you want to keep depending on gusts of inspiration that come and go? Do you want to keep turning every start into a board meeting in your head? How much longer do you want to pay the petty tax of clutter? When starting is easy, repeating is easy, because the brain loves familiar paths, and will suggest the route with the least resistance next time. When repeating is easy, results rise steadily. Because steady does not need cheering, it only needs a flat floor and a clear switch. You respect the path, you respect the body, you respect the goal. Next is method 3. Lock the loop so behavior becomes durable, where cues, sequences, and identity statements pin the good slide into your new default. Chapter 7. Lock the loop, seal the repeats, and anchor identity. Method 3. You need a steady hook for a habit to hold on to, because durable behavior does not live on excitement, it lives on the right signals. When you fix the time and the cue, your brain does not have to renegotiate every day, and the right behavior becomes the default of your identity. Same time, same place, same finish. You see that after breakfast you open the notebook as if the next door in your familiar house is always waiting in the same spot. The smoothness of this sequence does more than save energy. It sends a message straight inside. I am the person who opens the notebook after breakfast. Each day you do it at the same time, in the same place. You must attach the behavior to the sentence, I am the person who. You win by honoring the startup cue. If you do not lock the loop, you will spend willpower to start from scratch, and each day turns into a never-ending meeting in your head. If you do not anchor identity, the right habit will get pushed around by moods, and what you built yesterday will loosen quietly. You hesitate. You lose rhythm. You doubt yourself. Each day you act at the same time and in the same place, so the body learns the shortest road to the right behavior and treats it as routine. You must attach the behavior to the sentence, I am the person who, so the brain links action to identity rather than to fickle interest. You win by honoring the startup cue as a promise to yourself, needing no audience, only consistency. Cue clear, sequence clear, self clear. What is the cue that starts your behavior? What I am the person who will you say to lock identity? Are you keeping the same sequence? Are you ready to make this your new normal? In daily life, locking the loop means choosing an existing anchor point in your day and snapping the desired behavior right after it so they become a tight pair. You place open the notebook right after finish breakfast, place clear the desk right after shut the laptop, and place a short walk right after finish lunch. Cue, behavior, confirmation. Same place, same order, same finish. Tight pair, durable repeat, identity recognized. Do not do it when free. Do it when the cue arrives so the behavior does not have to fight for a calendar slot against feelings. Do not rely on memory. Set anchors so recall does not have to chase a reason every time you start. Do not hope for chance. Lock the sequence so the behavior runs on the right track even when your mood changes color. You drop the bargaining. You drop the impulse. You drop the missed appointment. Cue, behavior, confirmation. These 3 steps form a locking loop that teaches the brain, this is what I do, instead of I will do it when I have time. Same place, same order, same finish. These 3 elements are an automatic gearbox that eases you into motion and reduces the jitters at the starting line that often make you quit. Less friction, less doubt, less drift. Some days you will be tired, some moments you will be bored, sometimes no one will clap. But the cue still sounds, the sequence still runs, and that uncelebrated steadiness is the safety belt that carries you through a weak stretch. You win by choosing an everyday cue that is hard to erase, like wash the dishes, change your shirt, or set the cup down as the start mark. You win by writing a short identity statement, for example, I am the person who writes 1 line after breakfast, and reading it silently as you touch the cue. You win by keeping a small, consistent finish, such as closing the notebook and laying the pen across, so the brain knows the loop is complete and ready to repeat. Mark clear, statement clear, finish clear. What is the cue that starts your behavior? What I am the person who will you say to lock identity? Are you keeping the same sequence? Be practical. You do not need to change the person in the mirror. You only need to add a short piece of track so the wheel grips whenever the road is slick. The cue is the track, the sequence is the tilt, and the identity sentence is the latch at the end so the loop does not spring back. You see the route. You tilt at the right angle. You lock at the right point. Do not remake the entire day. Plant one anchor where you forget most easily so you stop drifting. Do not force yourself to become someone else. Confirm yourself in small, steady ways within the same familiar setting. Do not judge when you miss a beat. Return to the startup mark like a train car that slipped the rail but still has a station just ahead. Gentle with errors, firm with rules, persistent with the loop. Cue, behavior, confirmation. Place the cue at eye level, give the behavior a starting gesture, and seal the confirmation with one identity line. Same place, same order, same finish. Hold the location steady, hold the order steady, and keep one matching end move so the loop reinforces itself. See the mark, act at the mark, seal the mark. There will be mornings that are messy. There will be afternoons that are crowded. There will be evenings that are weary. But the mark remains where you set it, and the moment you touch it, the behavior's wheel finds its track like water finding a channel. You win by turning I should into I am through 1,000 quiet touches of the mark, not loud but steady. You win by letting the cue call you before feelings, letting the sequence carry you over the first hill, and letting the identity line close the book on each round. You win by making identity the default program, not a beta test. Call first, carry through, close the loop. Are you afraid of a boring loop, or are you afraid that a lack of loops lets life slide away from your goals? Are you afraid of losing freedom, or are you afraid that surface freedom has been trading away the deep freedom you truly want? Are you afraid of being constrained, or are you afraid of losing self-control when random signals lead the way? When the loop is locked, you hesitate less, because the question, do I do it or not, no longer stands at the front of the day. Energy goes to moving forward instead of fighting, and you feel lighter because you are not negotiating with willpower every time you start. You trust your hands. You trust the natural schedule. You trust the new identity. The 3 methods are now clear, so move on to practical maintenance, where you learn the art of returning quickly with short laps and light rituals so momentum does not break on hard days. Chapter 8. Discipline. Maintenance. Sustain with short laps and rituals. When the day gets tight and your head feels heavy, discipline does not need a performance. It needs a short lap that keeps the trajectory from breaking. You simply show up with a just enough move and close with a light ritual, so the system keeps running even when energy is not abundant. Show up first, keep it lean, close it clean. You sit down only to complete one brief round and then stand up, instead of quitting entirely and blaming yourself for the rest of the day. That short lap is what keeps the cord between today and yesterday, so you do not have to rebuild from scratch after an unusually busy day. Light yet steady, simple yet firm, quiet yet strong. Discipline lives on short laps and light rituals, not on sudden fireworks that fade into silence. Your foundation is a quick return rhythm and clear open-close cues, so your mind knows we have begun and we are done without anyone watching. Each day you choose a short lap over quitting. You must keep both an opening and a closing ritual. You win by forgiving one slip. If you demand perfection, you will quit when you are tired and turn one hard day into a week of disruption. If you try to compensate with a big push, you will create pressure and push yourself into avoidance because you fear falling short of the fantasy. You overload, you hesitate, you refuse. Each day you choose a short lap over quitting by allowing a condensed session to hold the rhythm when time does not cooperate. You must keep opening and closing rituals so your brain has 2 clear markers and does not float between not finished and not started. You win by forgiving one slip and returning soon, because short distance is the antidote to long procrastination. Do not overcompensate. Do not linger in blame. Do not give up. When the schedule jams, what is your short lap? Are your opening and closing rituals clear? Are you punishing yourself too harshly when you slip? Are you willing to return the very next day? Name one short lap, read a few lines, write one idea, tidy the desktop, or simply open the notebook and make one mark to say you showed up. Name one opening ritual, place the pen along the margin, take one deep breath, or tap the notebook's edge like flipping a mental switch. Name one closing ritual, draw one final line, lay the pen across, close the notebook, and let the body sense this lap is complete. Open right. Do it lean, close clean. Do not demand perfection, demand presence, so your identity does not snap just because one session went off beat. Do not rush to make up with a big push. Come back small, and trust will regrow from proof that is small, but real. Do not use feelings as your ruler. Use the short lap as your bridge in hours when energy is scarce. You keep the rhythm. You keep the line. You keep the momentum. Light, steady, enough. Open right, do it lean, close clean. These two falling tricolons are the motto of disciplined maintenance because they shift the focus from how much you do to keeping the loop alive. The loop lives. Willpower rests. The system runs. Some days you will be tired. Some moments you will be bored. Sometimes no one will clap. But the short lap is still enough for you to feel, I kept my word, and that feeling rebuilds the trust that had worn thin. You win by defining minimum show up, minimum open, and minimum close, so you have no reason to delay due to sky-high standards. You win by repeating the same first gesture and the same last gesture, so your brain understands this is a ritual, not a whim. You win by treating the short lap like a small brick that gradually builds a thick foundation instead of walls thrown up in a rush and falling down. Small bricks are solid, the base grows thick, the flow runs steady. When the schedule jams, what is your short lap? Are your opening and closing rituals clear? Are you punishing yourself too harshly when you slip? Do not despise yourself for one miss. Shorten the distance from missed to back to reduce the loss of momentum. Do not punish your feelings. Embrace the busy reality with a compact session that leaves a real mark without incurring emotional debt. Do not let the cord stretch too far. Draw it back gently so the tension never reaches the snapping point. You return quickly. You tire less. You keep going. Light, steady, enough. This is the quantity principle, reminding you that a little in the right direction always beats a lot done on a whim. Open right, do it lean, close clean. This is the sequence principle, reminding you that clear boundaries free the brain from fidgeting and move it into doing. Boundaries clear, functions clear, finishes clear. There will be a morning when you feel sharp, the short lap turns into a full lap, and you smile because you went farther than expected. There will be an afternoon when you feel sluggish. The short lap keeps you from falling into a pit of self-blame and preserves part of the identity you have built. There will be an evening when you do not want to open the notebook, yet a one-touch opening ritual still nudges your hand, and that is all that is needed. A nudge is enough. One lap is done. Identity holds. You win by ritualizing the feeling of we have begun with a mental switch, and ritualizing the feeling of we are done with a decisive gesture. You win by treating the short lap as daily maintenance, not as an emergency tactic for busy days. You win by replacing prolonged discomfort with gentle repetition so the behavior groove deepens each day. Groove deeper, trust thicker, drag lower. Will you choose the condensed session, or will you let the gap stretch one more day? Will you keep the silent rituals, or will you drift and let the mind hang without a start or an end? Will you forgive yourself to return, or will you add another unrealistic standard that feeds avoidance? Maintenance is the art of returning quickly, and quick returns preserve momentum because momentum is the most valuable asset in everyday discipline. When momentum remains, you only need one touch to continue. When momentum is gone, you must rebuild the foundation, and the price is always higher than you imagine. You preserve momentum, you preserve trust, you preserve the system. When maintenance has rhythm, motivation, and vision become clearer, and you will see that the future no longer depends on rare, brilliant days, but on ordinary days done right. From here, you step into the section on fueling motivation and opening perspective, where quiet inspiration grows from the fact that control has returned to your hands. Chapter 9, Quiet Motivation, Seeing the Future. When friction is on your side. You open your eyes and see a tidy desk, the notebook already waiting, the pen lying across it like a quiet but certain invitation. You do not need to search or tidy up, because the path is clear and the room's calm flows into you like water finding its channel. Calm eyes, calm hands, calm mind. When friction points the right way, you feel quiet progress, and motivation grows on its own as the natural result of a healthy system. The body resists less, the mind splits less, and you feel supported by order rather than pulled by traps. Each day you find yourself more trustworthy. You must look back at the path you have adjusted. You win by honoring small gains. If you ignore the quiet signals, feelings will take over, and you will need pep talks to begin, then wear yourself out waiting for inspiration. If you do not record small progress, your mind will tell the old story of not enough. And that story will slowly but surely erode trust. You become doubtful. You become dismissive. You sag. Each day you trust yourself more when you notice your hand reaching for the right thing in the right spot without being forced. You must review the changes you made to the path to understand why today feels lighter than yesterday and why laziness no longer wins so easily. You win by honoring small gains because small and in the right direction stacks into big, while big in the wrong direction is only empty noise. Steady inside, steady pace, light head. Do you notice the new calm in your day? Do you feel yourself being pulled away less often? Can you name the specific changes? Are you ready to hold this direction for the long run? You place the notebook at the center of the desk and rest the pen across the page, and begin is no longer a fight. It is simply a familiar gesture. You stand up and return to the same chair, and continue is no longer a meeting in your head. It is simply the next step in a smooth line. You close the notebook with one clean final stroke, and done carries enough calm to bring you back tomorrow. Clear task, clear self, clear course. No loud bursts, but firm steps so your nervous system does not swing up and down and make you pay with fatigue. No promises, but proof, shown by repeated behavior under the plain light of a day with no applause. No chasing crescendos, but living on a base of order that lets momentum appear right when you need it. Less drama, more endurance, wider capacity, steady inside, steady pace, light head. This trio is the feeling of someone living inside a good system, where each signal nudges you toward what is right instead of dragging you to the edges. Clear task, clear self, clear course. This trio is near-term vision, knowing what you are doing, who you are while doing it, and where the arrow is pointing. Near yet clear, small yet true, durable yet gentle. There will be tired days. There will be bored moments. There will be quiet stretches. But you still feel a steady thread running from the tidy desk to your hand. And that thread is strong enough to pull you through the bend in your mood. You win by noticing small proofs, fewer windows, fewer task switches, and less self-blame within the same ordinary day. You win by reading the calm signals, a room with fewer calls, eyes meeting fewer traps, hands finding the right spot exactly when needed. You win by letting results speak to you before your mind can retell an old unfair story. Fewer trap calls, fewer slipping hands, fewer tangled thoughts. Do you notice the new calm in your day? Do you feel yourself being pulled away less often? Can you name the specific changes? Do not inflate achievements. Confirm stability, because stability is the fuel for the long road you want. Do not wait for others to approve. Certify yourself through small moments of control scattered across your day's history. Do not compare loudly. Compare last week's you with today's you inside the same redesigned setting. Be fair to yourself. Be sober with inner metrics. Respect natural pace. Steady inside, steady pace. Light head. This is the mental dividend when friction is on your side. Paid out daily rather than in bursts that vanish. Clear task, clear self, clear course. This is the simple dashboard you can glance at and know everything is on track. One glance. Instant knowing. Keep going. There will be a morning when you lack desire, yet your hand still opens the notebook, and you realize motivation is no longer the entry ticket. There will be a noon when you feel worn, yet your eyes still find the next line, and you realize progress no longer depends on mood's luck. There will be a night when you feel alone, yet the room stays calm, and order embraces you, and you realize control brings a quiet warmth, quiet strength, quiet confidence. You win by letting the system deliver late gifts, the feeling I am trustworthy, the feeling I am present, and the feeling I am moving forward. You win by seeing the near horizon, one clear day linked to another clear day, then a clear week, then a clearer you. You win by remembering that real motivation comes after control, not before control. Control first, motivation after. Future opens. Do you want to keep living on rallying cries, or do you want the quiet base that supports you every day? Do you want to keep needing fireworks, or do you want steady background light that lets you work without stumbling? Do you want to keep borrowing motivation you will repay tomorrow, or do you want daily interest from the system you built? Real motivation comes from the experience of control, and control comes from design, where friction is turned the right way, so bad habits tire, good habits glide, and loops hold. When your hands do the right thing in the right room, your mind tells a new story about who you are, and the future becomes as concrete as the path under your feet. You move forward calmly. You move deeply calm. You move lightly far. Close the book and affirm the new identity. You are not the person who waits for inspiration. You are the person who designs friction, anchors good habits, and locks loops so your day stays on course. Chapter 10. The Architect Identity. You design, you become. You reset your workspace as a normal act. Tuck the cords into a corner, set the notebook in the center, lay the pen across the page. You do not treat it as decor. You treat it as the law of a room where the right action must cost less than the wrong one every single day. Fewer spare things, fewer calling signals, fewer detours. When you design friction every day, you become disciplined in a natural way because the environment has taught your body the right route. Identity does not fall from the sky. It grows from the order you repeat, and you confirm it with each correct touch. Each day, you confirm, I am the person who keeps order. You must prioritize context before action. You win by protecting the right default. If you keep chasing feelings, you will live on a rocking boat of emotion and let the waves decide your direction. If you keep betting on luck, you will place your fate in the hands of impulse and call it freedom when it is drift. You lose the wheel. You lose the arrow. You lose yourself. Each day you confirm, I am the person who keeps order, with a calm desk corner and a repeated open-close sequence, without loud slogans. You must prioritize context before action, because context decides 9 parts of the starting momentum, and willpower can handle the rest. You win by guarding the right default like a quiet gatekeeper, making the wrong thing pay a price before it enters. Rules clear. Gates strict. Flow straight. Do you want to be led, or do you want to lead yourself? You choose who you become through how you arrange space. Are you ready to treat discipline as the new normal? Will you extend this approach to money, health, and learning? You set the desk the way you set a track for a short run. No potholes, no obstacles, no flashing signs cutting across. You move the traps out of sight the way you roll a rock off the top of a slope. So each time the wheels turn, you do not have to slam the brakes for a random hurdle. You pull the right anchors to arm's reach the way you slide a chair into position, so the body sits and the right behavior powers on. See the trap. Move the trap. Forget the trap. Do not chase feelings. Build a system so feelings no longer get to steer the route during weak hours. Do not bet on luck. Set rules so friction stands on your side even when no one is watching. Do not gamble on a rare day. Multiply ordinary days done right. You command yourself. You own the responsibility. You collect the dividends. See the anchor. Pull the anchor. Hold the anchor. That 3-step chain keeps intention from slipping away because every intention needs a hook to stay. See the trap. Move the trap. Forget the trap. That 3-step chain starves old reflexes because with no shortcut, they are too lazy to find you. Right anchors live. Distant traps die. Defaults change. Some days you will be tired. Sometimes you will be bored. Sometimes no one will clap. But the rules still stand like mile markers, and you simply walk from marker to marker with nothing extra to think about. You win by letting the room answer for you when your mood asks, "Are we working today?" By pointing to the rules already written into the layout. You win by letting identity speak before action. I am the person who keeps order, and the behavior follows as a door swinging on the right hinge. You win by expanding the principle beyond the desk, the wallet, the fridge, the bookshelf, even the daily travel schedule. Context speaks up. Behavior follows. Results record. Do you want to be led or do you want to lead yourself? You choose who you become through how you arrange space. Are you ready to treat discipline as the new normal? Do not play the wanderer. Play the architect, because the architect does not wait for the road to appear. The architect lays the road. Do not complain about lacking motivation. Inspect the floor, because a bad floor makes for bad steps, not the other way around. Do not dream of a different self. Put into the hands of your current self the stops, the anchors, and the loop. You handle reality, You master the tools. You collect the outcome. See the trap, move the trap, forget the trap. These three lines define your relationship with what makes you slip. See to wake up, move to make it hard. Forget to free your mind. See the anchor, pull the anchor, hold the anchor. These three lines define your relationship with what lifts you. See to remember, pull to bring close, hold to endure. Clear-minded, close at hand, durable repeats. There will be mornings when you must resist a heavy head and cheap invitations, and that is when the system proves why it exists. There will be middays when you lose rhythm to a small disruption, and that is when the open-close rules save your afternoon from sliding away. There will be evenings when you are weary, yet the familiar finish, lay the pen across, close the notebook, power down the screen, gives you a rounded sense of closure that lets you sleep well. Head settles, day settles, you settle. Each day you win by protecting the right default from old shortcuts, by building a simple, stubborn system, and by confirming identity through tangible objects. Each day you win by prioritizing context before action, because good context gives behavior a chance, while poor context gives behavior an excuse. Each day you win by refusing to argue with feelings and instead giving feelings a quiet room to calm after the behavior has begun. System first, behavior next. Feelings follow. Do you want to be led or do you want to lead yourself? You choose who you become through how you arrange space. Are you ready to treat discipline as the new normal? Will you extend this approach to money, health, and learning? You look back at the whole path. You learned how environment beats willpower. You paid the price to wake up. You took the axis of agency. You built the three-pillar frame, and you executed the three methods. Now you fold it all into one word, identity, because identity is what lets you carry the method through every room, every role, every stage. You no longer ask, do I have discipline today? You say, I am the person who sets context rules and protects the right default. Say less. Do right more. Live easier. Do not chase feelings. Build a system so feelings have a safe place to land instead of steering your hands all over the map. Do not bet on luck. Set rules so an ordinary day produces ordinary results that quietly compound into the extraordinary. Do not wait for others to approve. Approve yourself through a room aligned between eyes, hands, and intent. Trust the foundation. Trust your hands. Trust yourself. See the trap, move the trap, forget the trap. See the anchor, pull the anchor, hold the anchor. These two tricolons are the summary for any space you enter, the office, the kitchen, the gym, or the study corner. Apply the same lens and the architect identity will handle the rest, organizing, adjusting, and reinforcing. One lens. Many rooms, one person. Do you want to be led or do you want to lead yourself? You choose who you become through how you arrange space. Are you ready to treat discipline as the new normal? Will you extend this approach to money, health, and learning? Identity comes from repetition in the right direction, and each time you arrange your workspace like an architect, you sign another line on your own certificate. Do the architect's part, and the results will do their part. Because when the floor is level, momentum arrives, and when momentum arrives, a person becomes consistent without strain. You live tidy. You move steadily. You become. Lock the entire journey in the closing section, where every piece fits into one clear story. You design friction, you anchor what is right, you lock the loop, and you live like the one in charge. You have seen why the environment beats willpower, why the quiet price wears you down, and why the agency axis puts you back in the driver's seat each day. You have walked through three pillars: increase friction for bad habits, reduce friction for good habits, and lock the loop so identity holds. From here, the story is no longer, do you feel like it? But do you set the rules for the room? The rules are yours. The doors are yours. The defaults are yours. Do not wait for willpower to rescue you. Replace the foundation first. Do not fix the person in your dreams. Fix the room that is real. See the trap. Move the trap. Forget the trap. These three directives are enough to keep you upright in a busy day because they do not demand fireworks. They demand order. Less rallying, more reality, clear path. You do not need to become someone else in the mirror. You only need to become the person who rewrites the layout of your room, your desk, your phone, and the record of your day. When the context says right, your hand more easily does right, and your mind tells a different story about you. Calm, present, trustworthy. You are not hunting for miracles. You reset the floor, and a level floor returns steady momentum that is gentle and firm. Small momentum, even rhythm. Quiet day. Each day you confirm, I am the person who keeps order with small gestures. Move traps, pull anchors, lock loops. You must prioritize context before action because context paves the road and action simply walks through. You win by protecting the right default, so the wrong thing must pay a fee before it can enter. Rules clear, gates tight, momentum free. Do you want to live by short-term slogans or by a gentle, durable system? Do you want to keep negotiating with feelings or let order speak to your body first? Do you want your day decided by chimes or by the layout you set last night? No loud bursts but firm steps. No promises but proof. No waiting on the outside, but building inner rules. These three falling lines combine into one simple principle. Make the right thing cheaper than the wrong thing in the very room you live in. Cheaper in effort, cheaper in willpower, cheaper in hesitation. You have learned to maintain discipline with short laps and rituals because returning quickly matters more than one long push followed by a drop. You have touched quiet motivation, the kind that comes after control and does not demand to come before it. You have named the architect identity, the one who does not wait for the road to appear, but lays the road by hand each morning. See clearly, keep it lean, live steadily. No long goodbye, only one reminder. Discipline is not a feeling to hold. Discipline is a room to step into. When you step in, you have already chosen the hardest part, the direction. The rest is ordinary but steady footsteps, and each step is a signature that confirms who you are. Small signatures, thick paperwork, solid identity. Do not wait for willpower to rescue you. Replace the foundation first. Do not fix the person in your dreams. Fix the room that is real. See the trap, move the trap, forget the trap. Let these three lines stay with you when your hand touches the phone, when your eyes meet the desk, when your mind meets the urge to retreat. Short enough to remember, strong enough to use, lived enough to trust. Each day you walk into a space that supports you. The right behavior slides toward you. The future opens because you protect the right default.